Hello, and welcome to another edition of Your Bridge to Addiction Resources, a program that is sponsored by the People's Chronicles and the Council on Chemical Abuse. My name is Yvonne Stroman. I'm the Community Program Specialist at the Council on Chemical Abuse. And today we want to bring to you some information, some valuable information to your world about naloxone, why we use naloxone, how a person can get naloxone. And with me to do that is our administrative coordinator at the Council on Chemical Abuse. I think I said that right. Did I? What is your, Kathy Noll? Kathy, your title is Program Administrator.
My actual title is Program Analyst.
Program Analyst.
Yes.
Okay, great. And how long have you been at the Council on Chemical Abuse?
Next week I will be there for 15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
Wow. So you've probably seen the agency ebb and flow in response to a number of issues in our community impacted by alcohol and drugs and tobacco. And so you're no stranger to when we talk about the opioid crisis, the opioid epidemic, and what is happening in the way of families and lives lost. And really, our responsibility at the Council on Chemical Abuse is really to educate the community about the opioid crisis. And more importantly, what we're doing as it relates to saving lives and preventing overdose. And so can you talk a little bit about how the Council on Chemical Abuse got involved with the Naloxone Project?
Sure. As part of my role at the council, I do a lot of work with our data and I do a lot of reporting.
Okay.
But one of my favorite things is I get to work on a lot of different projects, and the Naloxone Training and Distribution Project was one of them. And we started it last summer with a grant from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. That grant money has long been spent, but our board of directors and our executive director feel so strongly about this project that we're continuing with it through monies from the department, the PA Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs.
Wonderful. And so naloxone is, you can explain it in terms of it prevents overdose. So if an individual is using opioids and they may be using too much of that opioid, and then there's some behaviors, some characteristics that are signifying that they may be going into an overdose, naloxone actually prevents that.
Yes, naloxone is a medication that's been used for over 40 years by EMS and hospital personnel. And what we say is it actually reverses the effect of an opioid overdose. And I just want to be really clear about what an opioid is. We're talking about drugs like heroin or prescription painkillers. It won't work on like an alcohol overdose or like a Valium overdose. So we're talking about those types of drugs, heroin and prescription painkillers. And what it actually does is when someone's in an opioid overdose, they have too much of the drug on the opioid receptors in their brain. And when this drug is given, it actually knocks the opioid off of the receptors and blocks it for the time that the naloxone's in the person's system, and that gives people time to call 911 and get the person medical attention. Wonderful.
And so you had mentioned that usually the EMT professionals have had access to this, the hospitals have had access to this. What's special about this project with the community at large is now it's being made available to homes, to families, to individuals that may need or want naloxone nearby to help that loved one.
Yes, anybody can get naloxone. And I'm going to talk about a couple of ways that people can do it, and then I'm going to talk about the really easy way you can do it if you come into the Council on Chemical Abuse. Actually, a person could go to their doctor and say, please write me a prescription for naloxone. Or the Physician General of Pennsylvania has written a standing order that anyone in Pennsylvania can take the standing order to a pharmacy and have it filled. Or what you could do is you could come into the Council on Chemical Abuse, and we are giving these kits out for free, and they contain naloxone. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's in this
so
kit?
Can you kind of just walk us through the kit, what's in the kit, that kind of thing, and then the training that is associated with it?
I'll talk about that.
Okay, great.
First of all, we have done numerous community trainings, and I want to publicly say thank you to the EMS ambulance service. We've been really fortunate. We have a partnership with them, particularly with Reverend Jeremiah Sassman, who is the president, and Tyler Bard, who is the chief EMS. and they have come out and done numerous trainings for us. They talk all about how to identify an opioid overdose, and then they train on how to do this. Now, not everybody can come to a community training, so there's another way to get training. There is a website, and it's www.getnaloxonenow.org, where people can do like a 20-minute training, and then they can print out a certificate, and they can walk into the Council on Chemical Abuse. If they're a Berks County resident, we will ask for ID, just to make sure you're a Berks County resident. We'll ask for your certificate, and then we'll go through the kit with you. We don't ask you why you want it. We just sit with you and go through it.
Because the important thing is to have it in people's hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So can you kind of share with us what's in the kit?
Sure. Now this box looks a little raggy because it is a training kit.
Okay.
What you're going to get is nasal Narcan. I just want to make a point that if people are watching the video online, they're watching the naloxone being administered in a different form than this is, and it's kind of difficult. So nobody get afraid if you're watching that. It's not that hard. That one's difficult. You have to flip caps off and screw atomizers on. We don't have to do that. This product came out earlier this year. We first got it in February, and it's so simple to use, and that's why we love it. So what it looks like, there's 2 doses inside. And all you have to do, that one's the ugly one. Oh, sorry. All you have to do is open it. There's directions.
Okay, so it walks you through the directions on how to put it together.
And this is what it looks like.
Okay.
You do not have to do anything to this. You don't have to take a cap off. You don't have to prime it. You don't have to do anything. You just put it up the person's nose and you squeeze the plunger, and that's it.
That's it.
And then there's a second dose. If the person doesn't come around within a few minutes, there's a second dose that you can use.
Okay, but I like that there are instructions that are with it that are pretty simplified to let the person know this is the next step, this is the next step, and this is the next step. And the importance of, and it says in the kit, to call 911.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because you have this, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be calling emergency medical personnel. You should be calling emergency medical personnel, particularly when you think about, we don't know what the person has used. There may be some long-acting opioids. This will wear off, and they're going to need medical help. So it's really, really important to do that. So we have the kit, and then the other thing we have in there is just a little thing that has a breathing mask and some rubber gloves in it.
Okay.
And we also put in this. This is our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week hotline number for people who experience an overdose. And that number is 610-988-0685. If people have survived an overdose, we'll send a recovery specialist out to talk to them about what are your options.
Wonderful.
How can we help you? And many times we are successful in people going immediately into a treatment program.
That's great. So there's the intervention of the administration of the naloxone, and then the opportunity after calling 911 and getting them to the hospital, a person is there, professionals there to talk about what their options are.
Absolutely.
And then accessing treatment, so that helping to save lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So can you talk a little bit about how this has helped you professionally and personally, the work that you're doing at the Council on Chemical Abuse?
Yeah, I can talk about that. First of all, I'd like to say that we've given out over 200 of these kits, and all the people that got the kits were trained. And as I talked about before, when I say I'm a program analyst, some people go, that doesn't sound all...
Sounds techie.
Doesn't sound all really exciting. But being involved in this project, for the first part of my career, I did do direct service. I did help people access care. And so being part of this project has allowed me, again, particularly to be helping families.
That's very important.
And when I thought about that, I thought about, and now I'm helping people again. It gave me energy to go back, and what I do is important too, because if I and fiscal people and administrative people and support people, if we don't do our jobs, other people can't do theirs, and we don't always get to see the miracles that do happen every day, but we have to remember we are part of those miracles, even though we're not doing that direct service.
Yeah, and each part and each individual within our organization
Absolutely.
really plays a vital role.
Absolutely.
I think of us as being a car, a luxurious car, and so there are some
you're
of
right.
us that are on the brakes. There's some of us that are on the gas. There's some of us that are steering. You know what I mean? But we're all going in motion to that same direction, and we're really saving individuals' lives, helping people get well. And when we can help
Absolutely.
people get well, we ultimately help the community get well.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I just want to say thank you. It is a joy. I work with Kathy, and it's a joy working with her each and every day. And just to see the excitement about helping others, and to see that we're all making a difference,
Absolutely.
but you are definitely making a difference. Is there anything that perhaps we didn't get the chance to mention about the naloxone kit, as well as the training that you want to mention before we?
I just again want to reiterate, this kit is absolutely free. And as long as we have funding for this project, these kits run out, like they expire like a year and a half. We are keeping a database, and we're contacting people when their naloxone or their Narcan is expired, and we're going to replace that as well. So people will always be able to get this as long as we have funding for it.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us about naloxone. And if you would like more information about naloxone or any of the other services that the Council on Chemical Abuse provides, you're welcome to visit our website at www.cocaberks.org. That's COCABERKS.org. Or you're welcome to give us a call at 610-376-8669. In the meantime, I'm Yvonne Stroman. This is your Bridge to Addiction Resources. We thank you for joining us.
Check back every week for a new story with your Bridge to Addiction Resources. You can call 610-376-8669 or visit online at cocaberks.org. COCABERKS.org. Be sure to like and follow the Council on Chemical Abuse on Facebook and Twitter.